Imagine you are a Japanese sentry in occupied China, 1943. Your job is to stop the flow of Allied explosives at all costs. You stop a local farmer carrying a simple, heavy bag of white flour. You reach in, grab a handful, and it feels right. You even watch as the farmer takes a bite of a small muffin baked from that very same bag. You smile, pat him on the back, and let him pass. Little did you know, you just allowed enough firepower to vaporize a reinforced concrete bridge to walk right through your front door. This wasn't just flour. It was Aunt Jemima, the most ingenious and humiliating weapon ever devised by the American Office of Strategic Services. And it was about to change the face of clandestine warfare forever. The story begins not on a battlefield, but in a smoke-filled laboratory in Washington, D.C. General William Wild Bill Donovan, the head of the OSS, knew that traditional sabotage was becoming too easy to detect. He needed something unorthodox. He recruited Dr. Stanley Lovell, a man he famously called his Professor Moriarty, and gave him one mission: ignore the rules of war. Lovell's team of mad scientists spent their days inventing everything from itching powder for Nazi uniforms to stink bombs that could ruin a general's reputation. But their greatest challenge was smuggling tons of high-grade explosives into territories where every grain of sand was inspected by the enemy. The breakthrough came from Dr. George Kistiakowsky, a brilliant chemist who would later help build the atomic bomb. He developed a specialized explosive compound known as HMX. It was stable, powerful, and most importantly, it looked exactly like ordinary baking flour. To the naked eye, a microscope, or even a touch test, it was indistinguishable from what you'd find in a bakery. The OSS dubbed it Aunt Jemima after the famous American pancake mix. It could be transported in standard flour sacks, stacked in kitchen pantries, and moved across borders without a single red flag being raised. It was the ultimate camouflage, a weapon of mass destruction hidden as a staple of life. But the true genius of Aunt Jemima wasn't just its appearance, it was its resilience. Most explosives of the era would detonate if exposed to high heat, but this flour was different. Allied agents were instructed to actually bake it into bread, biscuits, and muffins. This served a dual purpose. It made the disguise 100% foolproof and allowed agents to taste test the evidence in front of suspicious guards. While the baked goods were technically edible, they were far from delicious, often leaving the agents with a terrible stomach ache, a small price to pay for a successful mission. Once the bread reached its destination, a simple blasting cap was inserted, turning the morning's baking into a devastating explosive device. Over the course of the war, more than 15 tons of Aunt Jemima were smuggled into occupied China. It was used to systematically dismantle Japanese infrastructure from the inside out. Bridges collapsed, supply depots vanished in flames, and railway lines were shattered, all by saboteurs who appeared to be carrying nothing more than groceries. The Japanese military was left in a state of paranoid confusion. They were looking for sticks of dynamite and crates of TNT, never suspecting that the very supply of food they allowed through was the source of their destruction. It was a master class in psychological warfare, making the enemy feel incompetent by using their own strict inspections against them. The Aunt Jemima Project remains one of the most absurd and successful chapters in the history of secret intelligence. It proved that in the world of espionage, the most dangerous weapon isn't always the loudest. It's the one you never see coming, even when it's sitting on your dinner table. This legacy of dirty tricks would eventually pave the way for the modern CIA and define the American style of unconventional warfare: smart, creative, and devastatingly effective. So the next time you look at a simple bag of flour, remember the time when a group of American scientists turned a pancake mix into the ultimate tool of liberation.